Hi, everybody. Welcome again to Wingman Wisdom. Yes, I'm getting a little bit scruffy, and I will explain that in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully, you'll understand, but thank you for being with me today. If you're new to Wingman Wisdom, this is a channel that's based on camping and RVing and life, and it's about reason and logic, and my objective is to hopefully get you to think. Please don't think exactly like I do, but please try and think differently, because I think that when we open up our minds, we try to look at life and look at situations from other people's perspective, it gives us a better grasp of what we are dealing with. So on Sundays, instead of just concentrating on talking about RVing and camping, I talk about life in general. Today is going to be an example of the last story is just downright crazy, but I'll show it to you here in just a second. If you like this kind of content, please hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share it on social media with your family and friends that love a little bit of Wingman Wisdom. This is my virtual campfire, and we do it multiple times a week. So let's go ahead and get started. When it comes to employers today, now, I sold my campground, but when I sold it a couple of years ago, trying to find somebody that was a good worker was not easy. And every place I go, it's help wanted, help wanted, help wanted. It's hard for companies, for small businesses, big businesses, to find qualified people that want to actually do that four-letter word. It's not T-A-K-E. It's W-O-R-K. So let's go and look at this story I found in the Wall Street Journal. It says, bosses want hard workers, so they're hiring older people. Old people? You mean like me? Probably like you. If you're a young person listening, listen up, because there's a message here, and hopefully you will try to understand. It says, Kip Conforti is hiring for a part-time position at one of two package shipping stations that he owns, Pennsylvania. He filled such roles with high school and college students during 2 decades in business, but this time his top candidate is a man in his 70s. You mean there are men and women that are actually still alive and able to function in their 70s? Who knew? The story goes on. It says, Mr. Conforti has grown weary of younger employees who, he says, arrive late for shifts, call out of work often, and spend more time scrolling social media feeds than chatting with customers. About a year ago, he tried something different, recruiting people who are more likely to carry AARP cards than the latest iPhone. The learning curve is a bit longer, he says, but once they get it, God, it's refreshing. I say this is what we're doing today, and it gets done. Isn't that funny how old people, why is it that older people like you probably, or me, that we are able to see things and go, okay, it takes me a little bit to get started, a little bit to see the big picture, what the objective is. Why are we able to do things that younger people aren't able to do? And maybe young people can do it. Maybe this Wall Street Journal article is just all wrong, all off base. Is there anything that can be done to inspire people to work more? Come on, contribute. Don't just T-A-K-E, but W-O-R-K. The story goes on, says older workers are in demand at growing companies. It's quite a long story. Down here it says, he adds, this is not an attack on young people. It's not. This is simply an observation that the writer made in the Wall Street Journal about some companies are finding that it's hard. It's hard to find anybody that will work, but to find good young people that will work hard, it's more and more challenging every single day. So he says, he adds that young people's approach to work isn't necessarily worse. Plenty are hard charging, and those who dial down their intensity and can improve their health and happiness. While balance may strike some as lazy, others see refreshing groundedness or well-founded skepticism on the idea that hard work pays off. Still, old-fashioned grinders appeal to employers. Why do you think that is? Why are employers leaning more towards older people? I'm serious. I think the obvious answer is like the 1,000-pound elephant in the room, but why can't they find hard workers in young people? It continues, says, with the economy slowing down, companies need fewer people and need the people who are there to be okay with working hard, Mr. Taylor says, quote, instead of trying to convince younger generations to be something different, some companies are saying, why don't we just go hire people who are naturally predisposed to work harder? What do you think? Why are we predisposed, as the guy says here in the story, to work harder, and young people aren't predisposed to work harder? I'd like to know what you think. Just drop a comment below. The next story here, and this is going to be about milk. Huh? Hey, this is my virtual campfire. I appreciate you being here. So, are you like me? Do you like milk? I don't drink milk very often, but man, when I'm ready for milk, there is nothing like a cold glass of cold whole milk. Not that 2% watery stuff or skim milk. I know whole milk may not be as good for you, but I love the taste of whole milk. So what's going on with milk? Are young people drinking milk? And this is not bashing young people. It's just kind of like I said, I'm trying to get you to think. I try to think all the time. I read things from the Wall Street Journal and different sources to try to get my head wrapped around this crazy world we live in. So let's look at this story about milk. It says, got milk? Not this generation. This is from the New York Times. To the marketers trying to reboot milk as a sports drink for Gen Z, Yvonne Zapata seemed like the perfect ambassador. Exuberant 24-year-old marathoner from Brooklyn, she describes herself as a proud Latina runner. Her nickname is Miss Outside. I am not making fun of anybody. I promise I'm not. I used to be young once too, and I guess when older people talked about me, I felt like I was being attacked. But I'm not attacking anybody. I'm simply making an observation here. So we've got Gen Z, an exuberant 24-year-old marathoner from Brooklyn, nicknamed Miss Outside. The Milk Processor Education Program signed her, now get this, to its 26.2 project, an ambitious effort to provide training, gear, advice, and other support to every woman who runs a marathon in the United States this year. In March, Ms. Zapata's face lit up a giant Times Square billboard. She starred in her own video. Her portrait is one of several anchoring the Gonna Need Milk website. There's only one problem. Ms. Zapata would rather drink oat milk. I never tasted it. Don't want to taste it. She goes on, she says, dairy milk is good, but I feel like realistically it is unhealthy. So what is her name? Miss Outside takes money from the milk campaign, who's trying to get people to drink more milk, and she's making a pitch that she doesn't believe in because she doesn't think it's healthy. Can you follow that logic? Well, let's keep going. This is a long story. Ms. Zapata is part of the not milk generation, teenagers and young adults who grew up ordering milk alternatives at coffee shops and toting water bottles everywhere, turned off by the no-fat and low-fat milk served at school, worried about climate change and steeped in the increasing skepticism towards the dairy industry on social media. Many of them have never embraced milk. My take. I want to know what your take is. My take is young people today are being bombarded with more messages that confuse the hell out of them. That the basic things aren't good enough. Is too much milk good for you? Probably not. Too much of anything isn't good for you. But think of all the processed foods, all the things that we are being told, don't do that, don't do that, do this, do this, do this. We are being influenced at a rate I don't think that we have ever been bombarded by information like this in any time in history. It's no wonder that young people are screwed up. I don't want to eat meat. I want to be a vegan. I want to be a girl. I want to be a boy. And everything. There's if you were running a psyops operation, I told you Sundays I talk about life in general. And if you wanted to attack a country, if you wanted to destroy somebody, the best way to do it is not with bombs. I mean, that's too destructive and people die. What if you could just get people to do what you wanted them to do? So how do you do that? You create a psyops operation. What would you do is you would provide lots of information to different people, and you'd get them to start fighting and dividing. I hate you, you hate me, this group is good, this group is bad, and you divide and you divide and you divide. And what happens then? When you hate somebody over here, you have no regard for their life at all. And on both sides, if you're a hateful, evil human being, whether you're 20 or 80, you're a hateful human being who doesn't mind destroying the other side because you're filled with hate. And that's what the people that are running these psyops operations want you to do. They want you to hate the other side, because when you hate the other side, guess what? It doesn't hurt you a bit to hurt them. Kind of feels good. Sounds sick, doesn't it? It's the truth. You can take over a country. You can take over the world by getting people to believe that we're the good people. We're the enlightened ones. Those poor people over there, they're either stupid or they're mean, and we need to punish them. It happens in religions, it happens in cultures, it happens from young people to old people to young people. I believe we would be better off to stop hating the other side. We can have our strong opinions. Hell, I have my strong opinions. I don't hate the other side. I promise, part of Wingman wisdom is to try to, as I said, get you to think with reason and logic. Or do you happen to be just the smartest human being? God just said, you know what? I'm going to make you the smartest person there is. You know everything. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But that's how many of us act. We know everything. The older I get, I know I don't know anything. I try to look through the eyes of young people. I'm going to do a monologue. I was thinking about this the other day. Easter's now long gone. But I was thinking about lessons I've learned from Easter egg hunts, life lessons and observations. I guarantee you it's going to make you think, I promise. Hopefully you'll think a little bit, kind of see what I'm saying. But my fear is that if you're not ready, if you're not willing to think because you already know everything, I already know everything. He's a bad guy. We just got to cancel him. So that's about milk. What do you think about the milk campaign? Do you like a big glass, cold glass of whole milk? Or do you like all those substitutes, oat milk and soy milk and all those other things? I don't know. I think it's all about influence and commercialism, and we are part of a giant psyops operation. Everything from politics to, that thing that we're all supposed to take. We're all being manipulated, and we're so arrogant, and we're so oblivious that not me. I'm not going to be manipulated. You want to bet? Talk about crazy. I'm going to end today's video with the craziest. Don't go away. Now watch this. You cannot make this stuff up. This story came in, and as you know, I look at resources. The Wall Street Journal, New York Times, National Enquirer. I don't do the National Enquirer, but I do look at all different kinds of resources to pull material from. And here's one. Look at the headline here. Joburg pastor is still dead after ordering family to keep his remains as he promised to resurrect. A pastor in Johannesburg promised before he died, I'm going to come back. He talked about Easter. He's going to be a resurrection. Are you kidding me? You may go, no, nobody would believe that. Nobody would possibly believe that, right? I'm going to read the rest of the story. You're going to go, oh my God, we are so messed up as human beings. And what's funny is, it's not funny. How come we can always see how other people are messed up? How other people are going off track? And it's almost impossible to see how we're going off track. Even more impossible is us getting back on track. That's a paradox here. All right, so the Joburg pastor, it says Joburg pastor has been checked and it has been confirmed he is still dead. Despite an entire year awaiting resurrection in a morgue. Can you just imagine? This dude dies. He probably, hey, don't get rid of me. I'll be coming back. He's been in a morgue waiting, a frozen corpse for a year. The pastor's family and followers are said to have visited him at the funeral home to pray for his resurrection with their last visit. This is definitely something that many members of the public do not hear a lot of, but it is clear that such things are common and they happen a lot in our country. I don't know, is that crazy? It sounds crazy to me, but what do you believe in that's crazy? But it's not crazy to you, but it may be to other people. So let's see what else it says down here. It says, what is concerning is the fact that this is something that has happened in the way that the pastor has managed to convince other people that this is something that is real. And now his congregants were watching on in wonder to see if he'll be able to be resurrected just like he said. But as it turns out, there's no such thing as being resurrected from his affliction. And now he has left his congregants in a terrible situation where he is dead. Is this being ugly? I mean, I can't help it. Where he's dead, and they've left with a bad impression of him because they have not been proven right. Pastor Siva Moodley's remains have remained in a Johannesburg morgue for over a year, but his family and followers have not accepted the fact that he is never coming back. Okay, let's give it another year. Maybe the pastor will resurrect himself. I don't know how that's going to work. It goes on. Let's see. There's that guy. He doesn't look that happy now. He's frozen somewhere in a box. But hopefully, if this guy can get it together, he'll be able to show everybody that he can become resurrected as well. Anyway, what do you think? Do you like these virtual campfire stories where I'll pick something that's maybe serious and sometimes like the Johannesburg pastor that just can't wait to come back? Again, I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here and spending a few minutes with me. I don't have all the answers. I don't. A lot of things I look at, and I just look at it, it's just sad. It's our culture is changing. Our world is changing. And I have to accept the change, but I have a hard time letting go of the things that I grew up loving and connecting with. One of the things I love and connect with is nature. And the best way I've ever connected with it is camping and RVing and spending time in nature. Not spending time on one of these things and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. In a way, I think that many of us are blessed to be old, to have grown up in the age without the internet, without websites and video games and YouTube and all that. I really feel blessed. My dad died a couple of years ago, and he never had an email account. 89 years old, he said, I ain't going to get one. I'm too old now, and my world works without it. But I don't think you can do that anymore. I think that we're getting to a point where everybody has to be connected through the internet, and I hate that. It is a necessary evil, but I think that we have to balance ourselves. I'd like to know what you think. Do you think that young people will ever start drinking milk again? Because sales apparently of milk to that demographic of Gen Z people are way, way down. Will they finally see the light, or is there no light? Are they just going to keep drinking those soy milks and oatmeal milks and all that kind of stuff? What do you think? And in terms of the pastor, do you think they ought to give it another year? Or just say, hey, let's go ahead and make room for another one here at the Johannesburg Morgue. Thank you so much for watching. Drop a comment below. And yes, if you would like to download my free RV report, well, it is available to you. You can get it in about 1 minute. All you got to do is go to the website right here. See it right there? freervreport.com. freervreport.com. I promise you, it contains information that will help prevent you from getting ripped off. You will save thousands of dollars if you can just pick one or two things out of this long, long report. I promise you, you'll save money and you will make a whole lot better decisions when buying or selling an RV. So again, drop a comment below, give this video a thumbs up if you would, please, and hit the subscribe button. Until next time, I'm Alan Warren, the RV Wingman. Be safe, have fun, play nice, and don't leave your good manners at home.